These latest headlines from ABC15 are sponsored by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorneys. One call, that's all.
I'm Faye Fredericks with your top stories from ABC15 Arizona. If you're just joining us, want to update you on breaking news. After 2 days of deliberations, the jury has reached a verdict in the Donald Trump hush money trial, finding the former president guilty on 34 counts. The 34 counts stem from 11 invoices, 12 vouchers, and 11 checks that made up Trump's monthly reimbursement payments to Michael Cohen, who fronted the $130,000 payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniels. Donald Trump is the first president in U.S. history to be convicted of a felony. We'll have continuing coverage throughout the day on air, online, and on our app. Developing tonight, an Idaho jury finding Chad Daybell guilty on all counts in the murders of his first wife and 2 children. Last year, Daybell's wife, Lori Vallow, was found guilty for her role in the so-called Doomsday murders and was sentenced to life in prison without parole. The jury will now decide if Daybell gets a similar sentence or potentially faces the death penalty. Traffic alert on Highway 93, a deadly 4-vehicle crash shutting down the 93 in both directions just north of Wickenburg for hours this morning. Sweet James chopper up over the scene. Officials tell us a box truck traveling north crossed the center line, colliding head-on with a semi traveling south. The box truck then catching fire. The driver did die. That fire spreading to nearby brush, but it has been put out. 2 other semi-trucks were involved in the crash, including one hauling dirt, the other hauling another trailer, and then flipping over. It's unclear right now if there are any other injuries. We're working to get that information, as well as when this interstate will reopen. Some call Highway 93 the most dangerous highway in the country. It's the main road between Phoenix and Las Vegas. The ABC15 investigators have been telling you about the increase in crashes and deaths along the 2-lane sections northwest of Wickenburg. Widening project for part of the road is underway right now. A Mesa driver arrested in connection to that tragic wrong-way crash over the weekend that killed 3 people near Fountain Hills. Officials say Jose Serrano Orduna crashed head-on into a truck on the 87 near Shea Boulevard, killing everyone inside the truck. We looked over the court documents, finding Serrano Orduna had a blood alcohol content of 0.249, 3 times the legal limit. He's been booked on multiple charges, including second-degree murder. New today, aerospace giant Boeing agreeing to new and sweeping safety changes after a 3-hour meeting with the FAA. Comes after the agency found major issues with the company back in February amid a string of high-profile failures with its planes. Included in the plans are improvements to employee training, additional FAA audits, and protocols to keep suppliers from shipping defective parts. From the Waste Management, Phoenix Open, the Final Four, spring training, and plenty more. Tourist season here in the Valley was packed, and we have new numbers to prove it. Tourist season here is defined as January through April. Phoenix City leaders tell us more than 4.5 million people went through Sky Harbor in April, the most ever. As we've shared here at ABC15, city leaders expect the growth to continue, which is why the Phoenix Aviation Department has started the process of designing and building a new terminal. It's expected to take more than 10 years to complete. In your Wildfire Watch, ABC15 following up with investigators on the Simmons fire. We're learning the fire in Pinal County was likely human-caused. The flames have destroyed at least 4 buildings, damaging another 5 in Kearney. That's south of Globe. Fire has burned about 300 acres. The estimate's actually down from previous reporting, since more accurate mapping has now been made. But the fire is still 0% contained, essentially no containment on it right now. Firefighters tell us the flames are no longer visible, but the fire is still smoldering underground. Around 60 people are still under evacuation orders.
Tracking your forecast, I'm Chief Meteorologist Amber Sullins. We are looking at a hot end to the week tomorrow, getting even hotter as we head through the next 7 days. We'll start the day tomorrow in the 70s with sunshine and 77 in the forecast at 6 a.m. By 9, upper 80s. By noon, upper 90s. And we top out at 106 degrees tomorrow around 4 p.m. here in Phoenix. We also have another air quality alert. Tomorrow, a high pollution advisory, just like we saw today. Winds will pick up a little bit over the weekend, which will help mix the air. But for tomorrow, make sure you're limiting your time outside again if you have asthma, bronchitis, or COPD. And try to carpool, ride public transportation, working from home. All of these things help prevent the problem from getting worse. Here's the next 7 days, and that temperature forecast is getting worse. 106 on Saturday, 105 Sunday. But by the end of next week, we could be facing our first 110s of the year. 110 degrees now in that Thursday forecast as overnight temperatures warm into the 80s.
These latest headlines from ABC15 are sponsored by Lerner and Rowe Injury Attorneys. One call, that's all.